But also coming up on the show. Now, it's an interesting bit. We've always called for youth leadership. In the last 2 decades, the United Nations and heads of the African Union have made calls for the active participation of young people in the democratic process of governance in member states. Youth Leadership Parliament, that is YLP, was established as a response to these calls through the creation of a model parliament to give the youth of Africa a platform to build leadership capacity and a voice to engage African governments on issues that border on building the future of the African child. That's why we're having this conversation this morning with Kobe Fabian, who is founder of Youth Leadership Parliament. We also have Prince Osei Wusu, minority leader of the Youth Leadership Parliament. We have Richmond Wadia Dako, the Right Honourable Speaker of the Youth Leadership Parliament. Yes. We also have joining the conversation Andy Amankwa, Majority Leader, Youth Leadership Parliament, and Clement Ashia, Youth Minister Designate, Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Finally, Samuel Afeti, Youth Minister Designate for Education. So it's quite a tall list, and we're going to try to give a bite to each person as we delve into this conversation. But let me start with Kobe Fabian on this beat. This entire idea to roll out a youth leadership parliament. Yes, the UN has been calling for it, the African Union, but what triggered this from your end?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to the issue. The issue of youth leadership parliament has been something that has been at the center of driving development in the country and across the African continent. Having lived in the UK for a few years and looking at the various development that goes across the European countries, and coming back home, you realize that the problem of Ghana and Africa hasn't been about money or resources, but it has been about leadership. Ghana and Africa lacks leadership, and if any government or people wants to put an investment that would change development, we need to invest in our young people. And that is one of the reasons why I felt that as an entrepreneur and financial investment consultant, my passion was to also contribute my quota, and that is to invest in the next generation of young leaders, build their capacity, give them the platform that they can engage in the governance processes that will lead to effective and sound development in our communities. And that is why I launched the initiative on the 30th of March 2016, bringing together all young people across the various universities and other like-minded youth organizations to form a model parliament. So within the model parliament, we have young people that are modeling the 275 constituencies as youth MPs. We have youth presidents, we have ministers, we have diplomats. We are building the capacities of these young people and making sure that if indeed Ghana wants to develop, that development is in the investment of our youth. And that is why we're here.
So tell us about the ultimate mission and vision that you're hoping to accomplish with this. Yes, you're talking about leadership and young people getting involved, but in the interim, there are certain things you're hoping to achieve, which would be your mission. And in the long term, you're hoping that this will have ripple effects on our leadership in maybe the years and decades to come. Tell us a bit more about that.
I think basically I have written off the current generation of leaders because
you've written them off. Why?
We've talked about making sure that strong leadership in the current crop of leaders bring about change. And therefore, having written that idea off, I believe that we need to build the capacity of the youth today. Now, when you look at the various engagements that have gone on between young people and our leaders, there has never been the roadmap of actually getting young people to be involved or getting young people to actually participate. So young people need to take that bold step. And that bold step also includes understanding what leadership is about. Okay, so it is not just about saying give young people the opportunity, but they must understand leadership and be capable to deliver when they are given that opportunity. So the end goal is to make sure that young people have what it takes. They have the skill, they have the capacity and the ability whenever they are given the opportunity to lead. So we give them various experiences. When someone is elected or given the opportunity as a youth president, excuse me, or as a member of parliament, they go through various experiences, networking platform, training, seminars, conferences. Number one, giving them the right network. Number two, making sure that they understand if it's about parliament, the processes of parliament, how bills are passed, how laws are made, the role of a member of parliament, so that we can hold our MPs accountable. And then when they get the opportunity to become a member of parliament, they don't then have to experiment with the position. They already have had some experience. So they go straight into action and they implement what is there. And the beautiful thing is that every young person that is going through Youth Leadership Parliament is given that task of developing what we call a policy document. So they, from day one, are developing a policy document that states to the fact that these are some of the challenges that as a young person I've identified in my constituency or I've identified in my area. And these are solutions that I think we need to put in place to solving these problems. So right from a very early stage, you get the mindset of young people to start thinking about what the problems are, what the solutions are that can fix these problems. And these discussions or engagements are done on non-partisan platform. So it is a very non-partisan platform. Everybody from any political divide is allowed in. And it is also very important to state the non-partisan aspect, because partisanship, if you agree with me, has divided the youth front so much that young people today cannot agree on the right things that needs to be done when it comes to development. It is a case of, well, for as long as you are not with me in the same political divide or wearing the same colors as me, then your good idea doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so let's engage now. Very important points that you've been making about, the idea, why this entire idea. But let's engage some of those who are actually participants in this offshoot or this entire enterprise. Princess Ewusu, now you are a minority leader of the Youth Leadership Parliament. I want you to share with us what the experience has been like and what you feel in this portfolio, basically, you can contribute, what impact you feel you can make.
Okay, thank you very much. Me being the minority leader has brought a lot of experience, and I have been able to learn how to debate on issues. I have also been able to understand the different opinions when it comes to debates and motions and topics. When you hear a minority, it brings a lot of ideas into your head. Like, it makes you think that you are always against something. But in YLP, we are training the young ones to have different opinions, different ideas. As a youth, what do you see? What is your views on this? What is your opinion on this? Not in a partisan way, as a founder has said, and even it's in the constitution of YLP, Article 9, Section 7, that if you are found doing the bidding of any political party, you'll be sanctioned from YLP. So YLP is serious to build the young ones, and me being the head of the caucus of the minority is a task that I cherish so much. I'm learning so much. The responsibility is big, and it even has helped me when I'm submitting my submissions on motions, debates, and all other things. So it's an opportunity that I haven't taken for granted. It has trained me a lot. I have been so appreciative for the journey that I have
learned
and that I've come so far.
It's quite an opportunity, but having spoken to the minority leader of the Youth Leadership Parliament, I might as well speak to the majority leader as well, Andy Amankwa. Now, Andy, for you, let me start with this. Do you know who the majority leader is in Ghana's parliament?
Yeah, that will be Honorable Osei Chimen Sabonsu, who is the Member of Parliament for the Swami constituency. And then myself, personally, I'm also representing the Swami constituency in the YLP. But then that is just a coincidence because it just happens that I was representing the constituency, and when we went for elections in Parliament, in the Youth Parliament, I was elected as the majority leader to lead a caucus. So just by coincidence. So
interesting. What has this experience taught you? Is it something you actually aspire to actually become a member of Parliament in government, the real thing, the very real thing, and maybe to become majority leader someday?
Definitely. I believe we all, in the end of our lives, will become stories that will impact and influence. And once you can dream it, YLP gives you the platform to be able to achieve it. As founders said, these are things that we are grooming young people to take active roles in the political space, wherever that you find yourself, because politics is all about changing lives, and that is what we seek to do. But then we learn some key principles that will distinguish us from what we already know, because we find that young people like to backlash the aged in the political space as if they would do things differently. But then day in, day out, we seek to find the same things happening all over. So there are lots of things to learn from YLP, and that is why we find us that as a nurturing room for us all that are in YLP, so that, as he said, with all the aspirations that we have to get to the top of the ladder and to serve our constituents and to serve the people of Ghana.
Okay, now let me come to Clement now. You are interestingly Minister Designate for Environment, Technology, Innovation, Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. And I want us to practicalize this. Look at the Galamsey scourge, for example, the sort of trouble we are facing with Galamsey. What do you think about it? Hello, Clement. If you could unmute and then, interact with us.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Please go ahead.
Now? Am I audible now?
You are audible. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you very much. So with this particular issue about Galamsey, I think we have to have a more broader consultation about what is happening. I find it very difficult to agree with some facets trying to abort the dialogue the government is having, and others who think it is something easy to resolve. What we need is to accept the fact that this business or this illegal activity has indirectly placed food on the tables for many Ghanaians, and a lot of them are struggling to get on their feet with regards to how to get proper licensing to engage or practice this act. Yes, indeed, it is destroying our environment, but we ought to accept first the situation and the calamity we are at hand with. Then we can now start establishing facets of solutions. It wouldn't be done in a day, in a year. No, it would require consistent dedication and devotion by both government, by citizens, or any bilateral relation that would be brought in here. So I think the government is on course with this particular dialogue. We have to engage right stakeholders. We have to establish an action plan before we can be able to curtail this menace.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Interesting point you made, and you've been referring to that consultative dialogue that is, has happened, in fact, and the pointers from there. But let me quickly move on to Samuel Afeti, who is Minister Designate for Education. You see all of what we have in our system by way of education. Some things to celebrate, others not so good. If you were the substantive Minister of Education in this country, what is that one thing you would want to change?
Okay, good morning. Actually, I am not a Minister for Education. I am for Western Housing.
Okay, so it's actually education I have here. But tell us a bit about, let's switch it. If it were indeed works and housing, and looking at our housing issues in this country, what would be that one thing that you would want to effect change in?
Okay, for now, what I am looking at is when you look at our housing system in Ghana, we can see that the structures are not that effective. And most people are not also getting affordable houses in Ghana. So what I am bringing on board, what I can do to change that system is to make available some resources and have go into partnership with other companies that can help build more houses for Ghanaians and also make it affordable. Because even if there's houses and it's not affordable for the people, it's very difficult for the people to afford and get accommodation. So one thing that we will do is to make sure that our houses, we make sure we build more houses and make it affordable for Ghanaians.
Right. And I see a bit of, so you're actually cutting your teeth when it comes to speaking in public as well. That's one thing you would have to learn how to do. But let's wrap the conversation with Kobe Fabian. And in this concept notes, there's a bit about making Ghana great again, maybe a spin-off Donald Trump's Making America Great Again. And I would like you to tell us a bit more about that, and also about the Ghana Youth President show as we wrap. Kobe.
Okay, so we need to re-echo the Ghanaian dream. And for any young person that lives in Ghana should ask him or herself, what is the future for me? How does the future look like? Where do you find yourself in going through education? Are you guaranteed to get a job? Are you guaranteed to be able to get capital to start your small business and things like that? And these things are the everyday concern and challenges of every young person. And we need to make a way, we need to make that happen. And for that to happen must be an action of the youth.
Okay.
The youth of Ghana wants to make this country great again. And to make it great again, their participation, their involvement, their impact in communities through these actions of Youth Leadership Parliament. And that is why we are launching the Ghana's Youth President program on Joy Prime. And what that program seeks to do is a platform where many young people modeling as presidents, ministers, diplomats, and members of parliament have a manifesto document, a policy that states this is what we want to do. This is how we want to make Ghana great again, by changing the ills, by changing the difficulties and challenges, the problems, the galamsey, the issues of free senior higher education, double track system. These are all ideas that they are bringing on board to make this country great again.
And that's one that we are all going to be watching. But a very big thank you to Kobe, Prince, Richmond, Andy, Clement, and Samuel for joining us for this all-important conversation. Do stay with us. We'll be back.
Thank you so much.